And meanwhile, the state of Florida is pushing for more federal funds to help fight the Zika virus and the burgeoning infections therein. There are now 37 locally acquired cases in the Miami area. The two Zika zones, if you will, are in the Wynwood neighborhood and another in Miami Beach. You see them there on the screen. Florida Governor Rick Scott says that he is allocating another $5 million to fight the virus in the area. But there is now growing criticism over just how the governor and Congress are handling the outbreak. Our David Begnaud has more.
What the governor did is he not only blindsided me, he blindsided our administration.
For the third day in a row, Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine took aim at Florida Governor Rick Scott for failing to tell city leaders about Zika cases on Miami Beach before he notified the public.
I think it would be more useful in the future to let the elected leaders, let the administrations know what's going on so we can take the necessary steps.
Governor Scott fired back.
I reached out to Mayor Levine, and he unfortunately didn't return my phone call.
One mosquito lobby there.
Two tourist areas in Miami-Dade County, the Wynwood neighborhood and South Beach, are home to at least 37 locally transmitted Zika cases. Katrina Bernard's third child is due in December.
This isn't, a cold, it's life or death.
Although Bernard lives outside the Zika zones, she's scared to leave her Miami-Dade County home.
What has instilled that fear in you?
Seeing all of these poor babies with microcephaly and seeing women having to make the choice to either not continue their pregnancy or to just be dealt a really hard hand.
There are 69 pregnant women in the state of Florida who have been infected with Zika. The disease has been linked to babies born with microcephaly and can impact the size of a child's head, potentially causing seizures, developmental delays, and additional mental and physical problems.
You can put a box on a map, but you can't keep the mosquitoes in that box.
Christina Frigo is also from the Miami area, but earlier this month she relocated to Chicago, and she plans to stay there for the remainder of her pregnancy.
You just inconvenience yourself so that your baby is safe.
And David Begnaud now joins us from Miami Beach. David, quite a soundbite if nothing else. You can put a box on a map, but you can't keep the mosquitoes in the box. As we now start to see more locally transmitted cases then, is there a belief, especially in those zones, that the efforts there are working, or does something need to change?
Well, in the Wynwood Zika zone, they say that they've been able to drop the mosquito population that they've been targeting as much as 80%. We're only going by what the officials are telling us. The other thing dropping in the Wynwood Zika zone is business, down at least 50 to 60%. Here on Miami Beach, where we are, it's hard to tell. The cases were only told to the public, only made public last Friday. They date all the way back to mid-July, but the public wasn't told until last Friday. So it's hard to gauge how much business has been affected. Here on Miami Beach, they're not only doing spraying, ground spraying, but they're also fining you if they find standing water on your property. You can get fined here. And we're talking about even a little bit, Josh, enough to put in a bottle cap. That's where these mosquitoes can lay their larvae. So they're really militant here in Miami Beach about getting rid of that standing water. We saw a woman behind me who was putting more water into the hydrant right there and left a lot of standing water, and a crew came right behind her 20 minutes later and used a broom to sweep all of it into a drain. So they appear to be working quite diligently. You can't do aerial spraying around here because of the high-rise buildings and the wind pattern since we're on a beach.
Look, Wynwood is something of, if for lack of a better word, a cool spot for locals in town, but Miami Beach is just a straight up, that is a tourist hotspot. You're there. What's the reaction to folks? What's the reaction to folks then walking around a place where millions go, where millions and millions of dollars are spent, now being designated as one of these zones?
Nobody seems terribly worried. Truly, even the business owners don't seem terribly worried. I think people who live here, and this is not just a hotspot for tourists, this is a hotspot for people who live here. There's a lot of residential buildings around here, but most of the people that you see walking up and down the beach are wearing short sleeves, shorts, flip-flops. A lot of them will tell you they're not even wearing bug repellent. So there's not a lot of panic on the beach. It is 96 degrees. We've been dabbing our face with sweat, and it's only 9 o'clock in the morning, so you can understand why people are not walking around here acting like it's winter in New York.
We also saw there the undercurrent here, the spat between Governor Scott and the mayor of Miami Beach. Is there a sense that that is impacting prevention efforts at this point?
I think that may be more a little political than anything. You'll hear people say, well, the mayor of Miami Beach wants to run for governor and the governor wants to run for Senate, right? So it's people pontificating about what could be really the undercurrent of that sizzling, simmering battle, if you will, political battle. But the bottom line is the mayor of Miami Beach is making a legitimate point. He says, I didn't find out we had Zika here on the beach until after the governor went public. And let me go back to last week when the governor made it public. Before that, CBS News had confirmed through 2 separate sources that there was Zika on the beach, and the governor's office told us we were wrong and that we needed to correct our reporting. They went so far as to do that. And I questioned the governor, and he gave some company comment about how we just want to get everything right before we release it to the public. But the mayor of Miami Beach says, look, you blindsided us, you blindsided the community, you blindsided everyone, and the governor has just said, well, we're working hard to get the information and we're not making it public until we're absolutely sure what we have. It's been going longer than I thought. The mayor's been attacking the governor since Friday. He's still doing it today. We'll see how long it goes. I don't think it's getting in the way of things. The crews are working really hard here, ground spraying, trucks are riding around, women and men are sweeping with brooms, you know, and there's a bit of a repellent stench in the air as you walk down the beach. So people are starting to spray themselves, which is what they've advised.
Yeah, good news, if nothing else, a story, though, that not going away anytime soon. David Begnaud there in Miami Beach, we thank you as always.